Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. After leaving Nine Smoke Marsh, Luo Feng rushed to the East Army military camp. Other than him, there was also Wu He, who had secretly left Nine Smoke Marsh. Out of the 3 troops of warriors led by the captain, Ku Fa, and Yu Luo, who were all designated with a mission and were still within the Nine Smoke Marsh region, only the captain had managed to obtain a True God corpse. The other warriors, including Ku Fa and Yu Luo, had not managed to gather enough military credits. They were all brainstorming possible solutions. Should they kill amongst one another? Should they continue to hunt? Or wait to reap benefits while the others did the job? They were all certainly going to do their best, but it was also fated that a single disaster-level mission would cause many of them to be annihilated. Finally, I have arrived. A lone figure appeared mid-air. That figure was none other than Luo Feng. Looking far off into the distance, Luo Feng could see the vast, boundless military camp. He revealed a trace of a smile as he bowed his head to look down at everything beneath. He could also see the long queue of tribal warriors and beasts who had come to join the army. Luo Feng flew into the military camp. Just as Luo Feng entered the East Army military camp, many wormholes on the peripheral region of the East Army military camp, within a contorted space, were transporting great beings. With almost every single moment that passed, warriors continued flying out from the various wormholes. Let's go. The mission this time around is considered easy. We can finish it quickly, and then we can have another era worth of free time. Let's go. Our next mission will be at the reincarnation level. Who knows how many from our troop will be able to survive? I hope this time, we can earn more military credits. Then we can exchange them for a few more treasures from the military point. Then hopefully, we can pull through the reincarnation level mission. Batch after batch of warriors, ranging from relaxed to stern to worried state, all left. The East Army was simply too big. With every passing moment, there were warriors leaving. And among those warriors leaving in a continuous stream, one warrior, who seemed to be an ordinary lawmaster, stood on one of the branches of an aged yet sturdy tree in the distance. I am here on the orders of Ancestor. Upon being accepted into the army, I might have been assigned with missions, but I have never gone about executing any of them. Here I am instead, just waiting. I have been here for so long, yet I have never laid eyes on that Milky Way horde leader, not even once. The silver-armored warrior was very worried, yet, at the same time, he maintained a watchful eye. Milky Way horde leader is very impressive, but so what if he is that impressive? Even if he did transcend reincarnation, he merely contributed another holy land to our universe ocean. To us of the Purple Moon Holy Land, he is no threat at all. The silver-armored warrior could not make sense of this situation. Once a holy land is established, it will be an eternal existence. My Purple Moon Holy Land universe is not afraid of any great beings, so I simply cannot understand why Ancestor holds this Milky Way horde leader in such high regard. Even all the way here in this world of Jinn, he still gave orders for us to look into his whereabouts. The silver-armored warrior sighed inwardly. He simply did not understand. He was filled with doubts, but this was Ancestor's order, he did not dare defy it. The vast universe ocean was mysterious and unfathomable. In one of the 2 Holy Land universes, Purple Moon Holy Land, Purple Moon Ancestor was growing angry and dissatisfied. Have you discovered Luo Feng's whereabouts yet? 2 nervous figures knelt before him with great reverence. Ancestor, previously, we watched the boat of Mausoleum entering the world of Jinn, so we followed it in. Based on his point of entry, if he wanted to make it to an army, it would be an 80 to 90% chance that he would end up at East Army. So after I joined the East Army, I have been watching the exits of the numerous wormholes, and indeed, I have yet to discover Milky Way Horde leader. We have certainly not discovered traces of him, ancestor. Could it be that Milky Way Horde leader has yet to join the army? The two universe masters remained on their knees. He has the inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River. Even if he is in the world of Jin, he is able to break away of anything easily, so much so that he is making a name for himself. Purple Moon Ancestor looked down towards the two universe masters and said coldly, "Not only do the two of you need to keep a close watch at the exit of the wormholes, but you also need to frequently inquire about him. The moment he gains a reputation, you will be able to find out more about him easily." Understood. Understood. The two universe masters answered with great reverence. Ancestor, our troops' mission. The double-faced universe master with 4 arms could not help asking. The two of you shall rotate, Purple Moon Ancestor instructed with great indifference. While one keeps watch and patrol, the other will go out to complete its troops' mission. When the mission is completed, return to the military camp to continue searching and investigating. The other team shall go out to complete their mission. This time around, very few of our Purple Moon Holy Land have entered the world of Jin. Until the next era, there will be quite a handful of universe masters going over. By that time, you both will have a much easier time. Understood. The two universe masters were also earnestly praying for the next era to arrive. Get moving, then. Purple Moon Ancestor dismissed them with a wave. The two universe masters took their leave in a most respectful manner. Purple Moon Ancestor's face was blurred. Only a pair of eyes was visible. The gaze carried only a trace of feminine grace, while the most of it was filled with endless murderous intent. I had thought that it was impossible to kill you. Yet, who knows? The world of Jin has come into existence. In the world of Jin, the number who can kill you, Luo Feng, is just too many. Luo Feng, don't blame me. You can only blame yourself for receiving that inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River. In the virtual universe, at the peak of Thunder Island, Luo Feng met with Primal Chaos City leader. Luo Feng. Teacher and disciple sat apart from one another. I just completed a disaster-level mission, and have gained quite a substantial amount of military credits, Luo Feng said. Completing this mission means that for quite a long period of time, I will be safe. I will try my best to uncover the mysteries of the entire world of Jin as soon as possible. You are the first of our human race to enter. Primal Chaos City leader nodded. Your responsibility is the greatest. Now, throughout the entire universe ocean, whether within the primal universe, another reincarnation era, the two great Holy Land universes, or other words, great beings from all over have their sights on the world of Jin. After all, the first batch to enter will be able to get hold of first-hand information, and understand more about the world of Jin, which is simply too alluring. Luo Feng nodded. This was to be expected. In the universe ocean, various great beings yearn to transcend reincarnation, and also, they yearn to get hold of a supreme true treasure. However, in the world of Jin, there were many true gods of void spaces. Obviously, there would be a cultivation method that could allow a true god to achieve a complete breakthrough to attain the level of a true god of void space. This so-called supreme true treasure was actually the standard armor of a true god, and there was simply too many of them. Even various magical, automaton-type treasures existed. The opportunity to transcend reincarnation, find supreme true treasures, and gain automaton-type treasures was too alluring. All the powerful groups in Universe Ocean lost interest in the 3 most dangerous lands instantly. Everyone was extremely excited, as they set their sights longingly on the world of Jin. The only catch was that the chance to enter only happened once every era. Previously, the willpower of the primal universe origin came looking for me through ancestral God. Luo Feng smiled. Apparently, it is better for me to stay put here for the time being. The longer, the better. I will make use of this advantage of being in the world of Jinn. Besides, this time, I have earned quite a bit of military credits. I may be able to bring some supreme true treasures with me when I return. After one era has passed, when I get out of here, I will send some of these supreme true treasures back. Primal Chaos City leader was delighted upon hearing such news. The world of Jinn was the most important battlefield. Various groups of top powers would fight for it. Yet the human territory, within the primal universe, represented the roots of the human race. Only by expanding their territory could human talents multiply in numbers, and there could be continuity in the outburst of great beings being born. In this way, the human race could reach the level of the other two Holy Land universes, or even surpass them. Teacher, I will head for the military point first, Luo Feng said. At the military point, I can trade military credits for inheritance and obtain various treasures. I believe I should be able to catch a glimpse of the more profound secrets of the world of Jinn. When I have gained a better understanding of the military point, I will share the information with you. Get going, Primal Chaos City leader replied right away. But remember, don't take risks. The world of Jinn is much more dangerous than our universe ocean. Luo Feng nodded. He might have been roaming and wandering about the world of Jinn, but he maintained frequent contact and had regular conversations with his teacher. He was constantly aware of the various happenings in Universe Ocean. Right now, Universe Ocean could be said to be calm and tranquil. Obviously, various parties were eyeing the world of Jinn. East Army Military Camp, Python River Army Camp. Luo Feng and Wu Yi arrived at the military camp at almost the same time. Milky Way, Milky Way. Wu Yi went scuttling over to Luo Feng, following from behind. The wings attached to its neck flapped continuously as it said, I have readied the treasure. You can give me one in exchange now. You have prepared it. Luo Feng looked at him jeeringly. There is no rush at all. I will go to the military point first. When I get back from the military point, we shall have a good talk. Wu Yi was somewhere reluctant. If Luo Feng were to go to the military point, it would mean he would understand the value of certain treasures, and it also meant that Luo Feng would mercilessly oppress him. But no matter how reluctant Wu Yi was, he did not dare to argue with Luo Feng. All he could do was move his hideous-looking face and smile. Yes, yes, he said. When Milky Way is back from the military point, then we'll talk. Milky Way, don't forget to keep one for me. He was most worried that this new recruit, Milky Way, would trade all those true god corpses for military credits. That would truly deal him a devastating blow. It would be the same as sentencing him to death. Luo Feng nodded. Don't worry. Luo Feng left the camp right away, feeling overjoyed as he headed toward the military point at the main hall. Python River Army's lake camp was quite a distance from the main hall, but Luo Feng seemed to be enjoying the scenery as he went along. He was in a good mood, so he strolled to the military point at the main hall. The military point. Luo Feng raised his head to look at the towering, ancient main hall. According to the rules, before accepting and after completing a mission, I would be qualified to trade for treasures in the military point. But if I turn up here without completing the mission, then I cannot enter. Luo Feng softly recalled the military rules, then made his way through the doors of that broad and towering hall. The moment he walked through the main doors, there was a sudden change in time and space. It was as though he had stepped into another world. Luo Feng was taken aback. What secret technique is this? Before him was a vast world, a world that was boundless, and there were many warriors scattered all over the place. Before each of them was a golden figure. Compared to the virtual universe, this is much more magical. Luo Feng secretly exclaimed. A golden figure appeared out of nowhere to land before Luo Feng. Luo Feng took a close look at the golden figure before him, yet he simply could not see its face clearly. The figure was completely enveloped in golden light. Warrior of Python River Army, you are on a mission. The golden figure looked at Luo Feng. You are not allowed to trade for any items at military points. My mission is accomplished, said Luo Feng. With a single wave, Luo Feng revealed the serpentine corpse of a huge beast true god by his side. It was a gigantic corpse close to 1 million kilometers long. The corpse appeared so suddenly that even the warriors afar were in for a shock. Ironically, within this military point, almost all the warriors were law masters. A true god body that was almost 1 million kilometers long fell on the ground, and the ground trembled. The tail of the body touched a soldier near it. Those soldiers all turned around. When they saw the body of that strange beast true god, they all exclaimed. The eyes of the golden being shot golden light, covering the body of the strange beast true god. He then nodded. This is indeed a true god from 9 Smoke Marsh. The task is finished. 10,000 military credits awarded. Luo Feng was startled. It could tell that the body was from 9 Smoke Marsh with a simple inspection. It seemed that the military indeed had astounding control over the world of Jin. Name your requirement. The golden being looked at Luo Feng. You can exchange these 10,000 military points for weapons, machines, inheritance, and anything else on the list. If you have other valuables, you can also give them to the military and get military credits. Here is the list. A giant light screen appeared in front of Luo Feng after the golden being stopped speaking. There was a detailed list on the screen, and Luo Feng skimmed through it. I want the basic information about those above true gods, said Luo Feng. Basic information, said the golden being. There are only 3 pieces of material about the basic information. Based on the detail and level of secrecy, they require military credits equal to 100, 500, and 3,000, respectively. Luo Feng was shocked. It was only basic information, not even a training guide, yet it required so many military credits. The military credits gained from a catastrophe-level task was only 10,000. It was easy for him to get 1, or even 2 supreme true treasures from Wu He with 1 true god body, possibly more. He indeed wanted to know more. I want the highest class, said Luo Feng. 3,000 military credits spent, said the golden being. Soldier from Python River Army, you still have 7,000 military credits left, and you can only read the secret information here. A multitude of text appeared on the screen in front of Luo Feng. Only he could read the words, no others could see it, and neither could he see trades made by other soldiers. Here. Luo Feng whispered and started to read. The text was tiny, and the screen was enormous. There were 100 million words on each light screen. Based on the basic information, there were undying fighters, law masters, universe knights, law masters, universe masters, true gods of void space, and eternal true gods. When a life form was born in the world of Jin, they were all at the undying level. Generally, everyone who grew to adulthood could become undying, and some talents could become undying after they were born. Undying fighters, law knights, and law masters were all godly body life forms. Their energies and life imprints were merged into one. When the godly power was consumed, the life imprint was consumed as well. Some races had souls, while some life forms, such as rock beings, had other cores. All of them had life imprints. The more the life imprint was consumed, the more the power would tumble. 50% of the godly body consumed would decrease someone's power by 90%. That was the flaw of a godly body life form. Once someone became a true god, they would return to the origin like a baby, returning to their real lives. Flesh and blood type life forms would still be flesh and blood, and metal life forms would still be metal. For example, flesh and blood type life forms couldn't contain life imprints in their blood and bones. Like domain lords and sector lords, their souls and bodies were separated. However, after becoming a true god, they would become a flesh and blood type of life form again. Their soul and body would be separated again. The energies of true gods were bodies. Each inch of the body could burn, and would become enormous fighting energies. The soul of a true god was hidden in a heart of true god. True gods of void space, and eternal true gods all had a heart of true god, which was actually a mysterious space inside the bodies of true gods. Inside that mysterious space was the soul of a true god, and the mysterious space also connected the miniature universe outside. No matter how far a true god was from their miniature universe, they could transfer the energies in their miniature universe to their heart of true god. There were 3 ways to kill a true god. 1. Completely destroy the body of a true god, thus destroying the mysterious space, and the true god would die. 2. Use soul attacks to kill the soul of a true god, and the true god would die. The third and most common method was to attack a true gods using power beyond their defense. Then the strong shock waves would keep damaging the mysterious space, the heart of true god. Once the heart crumbled, true gods would naturally die, just as an ordinary wearing armor would be killed if hit by a hammer on his chest, as the shock waves would crush his soul. The same rule applied. The more powerful the bodies were, the less their hearts of true god would be weakened. If the body could resist all the attacks, the hearts of true god would be perfectly fine. Flesh and blood life forms, rock life forms, and plant life forms. This rule applied to all of them. Once someone became a true god, his body and soul would be separated. No matter how much energy a true god burned, it wouldn't affect his power, as the godly power didn't involve souls. True gods had miniature universes, and they were transformed from god countries, not created by true gods. Then true gods needed to comprehend the birth and operation of the universe, until they could control a void space. One thought, and a void space was formed. This was the ability of a true god of void space. True gods of void space would keep improving in power, comprehending more, until one day when they would reach a limit on comprehending the evolution of the entire universe. Then he could even create a miniature universe with one thought. One thought, and a universe was formed. This was the ability of an eternal true god. Miniature universes formed in this method were different than the miniature universe created by Luo Feng's inherited technique. I am the universe. The miniature universe created by that technique was far too simple, yet the miniature universes created by eternal true gods were battlefields, as eternal true gods couldn't create universes that were too large. One thought, and an area of 10,000 square light-years would fall into a miniature universe. The eternal true god was the master of that miniature universe. Other than being tiny, miniature universes were exactly like normal universes. They were so powerful that eternal true gods could easily suppress true gods of void space. True gods of void space, and eternal true gods. It was a process of comprehension of the evolution of the universe, until one could create a miniature universe with one thought. There were 4 eternal true gods in the world of Jinn. They were the 4 generals from the 4 armies. They managed the world of Jinn, and they were superior. If a true god of void space made a breakthrough and became an eternal true god, he could leave world of Jinn and fight for His Majesty the Godly King. Other soldiers needed to be summoned by His Majesty the Godly King to go out. However, eternal true gods could go out by themselves. Go out by themselves? Luo Feng exclaimed. If that godly king is still alive, then his eternal true gods can go out and fight for them. However, that giant, human-shaped creature was lying in universe ocean, so the godly king might have died already. His Majesty the godly king has died, and according to the original mind, no life forms in the world of Jinn can survive outside. Even if a peerless talent is born and becomes an eternal true god, he might die instantly after leaving the world of Jinn. Luo Feng sighed and kept reading. True gods of void space were the overlords of an area in the world of Jinn. Eternal true gods were absolutely supreme beings, and they were great officials of His Majesty the godly king. However, there were still differences among true gods of void space, and eternal true gods. When someone became a true god, his god country would turn into a miniature universe, and the structure of the miniature universe was very important. The diameter of a true god's miniature universe was 100 million light-years. However, after becoming a true god of void space, there would be differences. Because of the structure of the miniature universe, some would have a diameter of 1.8 billion light-years. Some would have 2.5 billion light-years, and some would have 5 billion light-years. The smallest miniature universe of a true god of void space had a diameter of 1 billion light-years, while the largest was 10 billion light-years. Oh? Luo Feng was surprised. The two Holy Lands. Purple Moon Holy Land has a diameter of 2.1 billion light-years, while Eastern Emperor Holy Land has one of 3.2 billion light-years. Based on those dimensions, both Eastern Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor were true gods of void space. I'll keep reading. Miniature universes were the foundation. They could absorb the energies outside and transform them into godly power without life imprint. Every time a great being made a breakthrough, either from true gods to true gods of void space, or from true gods of void space to eternal true gods, they would only make a breakthrough when their miniature universes transformed also. That was why, when great beings died, miniature universes would crumble. If a miniature universe was destroyed, the great being could still live and absorb the energies outside, but they wouldn't be able to make any breakthroughs anymore, no matter how deep their comprehension was. Miniature universes, however, were very stable and they were difficult to destroy. Only the limit-level great beings among true gods of void space could destroy miniature universes of true gods. Only the limit-level beings of eternal true gods could destroy miniature universes of true gods of void space. And nobody was able to destroy the miniature universes of eternal true gods. However, all the miniature universes of the great beings in the world of Jinn were arranged in the center of the world of Jinn by His Majesty the godly king, so no great beings were able to get there. There were three main levels of progression: true god, then true god of void space, and finally, eternal true god. To advance from one level to the next, the difficulty level continuously increased by leaps and bounds. The number of eternal true gods in the world of Jinn said it all. Strictly speaking, there were two ways to become a true god. They were the godly power route and the law route. Between the two, the law route was most common. But if one chose the godly power route, the process would be much more difficult. And once one was successful in choosing the godly power route, the life genes at each level would be divided accordingly. There would be a total of 3 levels, and anyone who was able to attain the third level, 90,000 times life gene level, would be regarded as a legend. In other words, going by the godly power route, one's life genes would have to reach 90,000 times to become a true god. The difficulty level was very high. But going by the godly power route, one could become a true god that was comparable to an eternal true god. Any true god who was able to achieve 90,000 times life gene level could easily become a true god of void space. Moving forward, becoming an eternal true god would no longer be that difficult. Luo Feng finished looking through everything at one go, but toward the end, he could not help frowning. The godly power route was so difficult. It required life genes to be multiplied by 90,000 times. It was almost unimaginably difficult. Before this reincarnation era ends, will I be able to achieve 90,000 times of my life genes? Luo Feng was not confident of achieving this himself. No matter what, I have got to try my best. Before this reincarnation era ends, if even I cannot reach 90,000 times life gene level, then regardless of my life gene level at that point, I will achieve a breakthrough to become a true god, right? After Luo Feng finished looking through everything, he said, I want to look at some inheritances. You may, the golden figure replied instantly. This is the list of the various inheritances. The screen changed. All the text disappeared. In their place was a gigantic, detailed list of inheritances. The list was divided into refined treasures, automaton treasures, close combat treasures, and various other categories. 5,000 military credits, 10,000 military credits, and 100,000 military credits. TSK, TSK. This one that is worth 10,000 military credits. Why must any interested warrior be from a special troop in order to be allowed to trade for it? Looking down the list, Luo Feng was shocked to learn that these inheritances were, indeed, very expensive and required many military credits as payment. There were even some special inheritances that normal warriors would not be able to trade for, even if they could pay the price. So expensive. Huh. The second stage of the blazing godly power secret technique, that a law master will be able to execute, costs 1,000,000 military credits. Luo Feng was dumbfounded. He had not expected the world of Jin to possess such a superior blazing godly power secret technique. It was comparable to the first 2 volumes of Extermination. After going through the list of numerous inheritances, Luo Feng lamented the tremendous amount of military credits required. I want to take a look at weapons like armors, Luo Feng said. You may, the golden figure responded. The list on the screen changed again. After every name on the screen, there was a pattern design for each weapon or piece of armor, along with the military credits required and also the power of the respective armors. Luo Feng scanned through the list in one glance. True God level armors cost roughly 10,000 military credits. True God level weapons, on the other hand, vary in price. Weapons at the lower end of the spectrum cost 2,000 military credits, while weapons at the higher end cost as much as 1,000,000 military credits. As for True God level battleships, the cheapest costs 50,000 military credits. Luo Feng looked through every item on the list. Apparently, Palace-type Supreme True Treasures were the priciest. Next in line were Soul-type Supreme True Treasures, which required at least 30,000 military credits, followed by Domain-type, Armor-type, and last but not least, Attack-type. Of course, every category featured something unique. The most expensive Attack-type treasure cost a whopping 1,000,000 military credits. The most expensive Palace-type treasure also required 1,000,000 military credits. I have over 300,000 military credits, which means I can trade for a decent amount of Supreme True Treasures. Luo Feng secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The prices of Supreme True Treasures were not overly high. Just reading about the inheritances, seeing the weapon armor, and looking at some travel notes about the world of Jin took him a full day. Yet the golden figure before Luo Feng showed no trace of impatience. Luo Feng's eyes gradually lit up as he said solemnly, I want to look at automaton-type treasures. Coming to the world of Jin, he had 3 major goals. The first was to gather enough true god corpses as materials to help him become a true god. The second goal was to probe into the secrets of the world of Jin, and the third was to find a suitable and powerful automaton-type treasure. He had Shawu wings and the boat of Mausoleum. One was for additional assistance, while the other was for flight during an escape. Now, what he required was a treasure as a main attack weapon in battle. This is the list. The screen before the golden figure changed again. The list on the screen contained very few choices. Only a few dozen choices remained on the list like lonely souls, and yet, all these were true God-level automaton treasures. Obviously, those automaton-type supreme true treasures that were of higher levels were not shown at all. Luo Feng supposed that was because his power was still not enough. 86 kinds. Luo Feng looked through carefully. There were so few kinds left on the screen. For every kind shown on the screen, there were matching pictures and simple introductions. Black cloud wings. Luo Feng's gaze quickly fell upon one of the automaton-type treasures. Black cloud wings. True God-level automaton, ordinary. 150,000 military credits required for exchange. Python River Army warriors allowed to own this power. Strength. Skilled in escaping, extremely high defensibility, skillful in restraining and entrapping enemies. Weakness. Attack power on the weaker side. Earlier on, in Nine Smoke Marsh, the captain had used this black cloud wings to deal with Luo Feng. The restraining power was indeed powerful to the extent of being scary. Luo Feng supposed that if he had not used Boat of Mausoleum, and had instead chosen to use Blood Ghost Blade, he would most likely have to execute extermination, if he wanted to break free of the restraining power of Black Cloud Wings and make his escape. And this is only a true God-level automaton treasure of ordinary standard. Luo Feng was amazed. At first glance, 100,000 military credits, 100,000 military credits, 120,000 military credits, 120,000 military credits, 130,000 military credits, 150,000 military credits, 300,000 military credits, 1 million military credits, 3 million military credits. Further down the list, the prices of different automaton-type treasures increased by leaps and bounds. The increase was soaring at a staggering rate. Even true God-level weapons could reach a price of 1 million military credits, not to mention automaton-type treasures. Regardless of how good the treasure is, if I cannot afford it, what more can I do? Luo Feng was not so overly ambitious as to look right to the most expensive treasure. Instead, he contemplated the list of automaton-type treasures that fell within the range of 300,000 military credits to 350,000 military credits. Very soon, he locked down his target. It was a huge blade that required 2 hands for a firm grip. It was extremely intimidating, yet beautiful. Misty Blade. True God-level automaton, ordinary. 320,000 military credits required for exchange. Python River Army warriors allowed to own this power. Strength. Upon transformation of godly power via the inner core of Misty Blade, an extremely strong attack power will be produced. Weakness. Consumption of godly power is extremely high. I need something with strong attack power, and besides, my main weapon is the blade. Luo Feng was a little tempted as he continued to look at it. It is only a true God-level automaton. Before reincarnation, it will be more than enough for me. The moment I transcend reincarnation, this blade will obviously lose some importance. By that time, it would also be good if it is left for my human race. It's just that, its functions kind of coincides with that of Blood Ghost Blade. Luo Feng continued reading on. One by one, he looked down the list. The further down the list of automaton-type treasures he got, the more unique and precious they became. Luo Feng even came across an automaton battleship that was comparable to his Boat of Mausoleum, and an automaton battleship which had a self-initiated attack ability. The last piece. Luo Feng held his breath. The last one was the most expensive true God-level automaton. It was named Wu Chi God. Wu Chi God. True God-level automaton, unique item. This item was personally created by His Majesty the Godly King. There is only one. 30 million military credits required for exchange. Only true gods, or law masters, who have been sealed with a title have the authority to trade for it. Reminder: Python River Army warriors are not allowed the rights to trade for this. Strengths: 1. Extremely strong defense. His Majesty the Godly King chose precious and rare materials to make and further refine this Wuchi god. Even eternal true gods could not damage it. 2. Extremely strong attack force. Possesses incomparably strong attack power. 3. Extremely fast in dodging. Wuchi god's body structure determined its extreme agility. Weakness: extremely strong power requires an alarming amount of godly power. Godly bodies of ordinary true gods will be consumed to nothingness in the blink of an eye. Gentle reminder: since its creation by the noble godly king, there has been no great being qualified to trade for Wuchi god with military credits. Its power has merely been speculated and has not been tested. However, for the noble godly king to stoop to the level of creating a true god-level automaton-type treasure, it must be powerful. Also, any creation by the hands of His Majesty the Godly King could never be of inferior quality. The conditions of exchange were personally determined by His Majesty the Godly King. Wuchi god was an automaton treasure that resembled the form of a monkey, with a streamlined body and an agile tail. Just by looking at the picture, one could feel how dynamic Wuchi god was and how fast its speed of movement must be. Wuchi god. Luo Feng felt the temptation stirring within his heart. To Luo Feng, who had a very deep understanding of the ancient civilization, he was clearly aware of the value of Wuchi god. It represented the ultimate perfection of a single-body type treasure. Shawu wings also belonged to this category of single-body type treasures. Only one great being could control it, and it would mainly focus on its role in the form of assistance. On the other hand, Wuchi god could be regarded as perfection, minus the weakness of consuming godly power too quickly. It was perfect in all other ways. 30 million military credits. Luo Feng bellowed in his heart. Where am I going to find such an exorbitant amount of military credits? And, even if I did have 30 million military credits, I am not qualified to buy it. I must be a true god, or law master, who has received a seal to have the authority to trade for it. And ever since its creation by His Majesty the Godly King, no one has managed to trade for it. Luo Feng shook his head and lamented. The world of Jin had a far-reaching history. His Majesty the Godly King had disappeared a long, long time ago. From this, it could be speculated that the creation of Wuchi god would certainly have happened a long time ago. The world of Jin had such a systematic selection process for choosing great beings, and yet none had ever managed to conquer Wuchi god and claim it. This showed how difficult the process was. Receiving a seal. Luo Feng frowned, mumbling to himself. What does it mean by receiving a seal? I must be a true god, or law master, who has received a seal before qualifying to trade. A sealed great being seems to be someone with a much higher position than a warrior from a special troop. He looked at the golden figure in front of him. I would like to know more information related to receiving a seal. 500 military credits required, the golden figure said. This requires 500 military credits. Although he was reluctant, Luo Feng was clearly in no position to bargain. All right. He could only nod. The screen before him changed into a detailed, written introduction. Being given a seal meant that a great being was outstanding to the point of perfection. And upon reaching this level of perfection, one would be qualified enough to be sealed by being given a Jin name, representing the utmost glory. Every great being that had been bestowed with a seal held on an extremely high position. In the world of Jin, the only great beings who had been bestowed with a seal were the four major generals, who had total supremacy over all the true gods of void space. Sealed with a Jin character. Luo Feng was taken aback. The previous Duan Dong River had been sealed with a Wu character. Jin Wu. His Majesty the Godly King. Luo Feng nodded discreetly as he continued watching. The requirements for receiving a seal were very stringent. Of course, the moment one became a prominent eternal true god, he would be rewarded with a seal right away. As for true gods of void space, the number who could possibly be rewarded with seals was, instead, only 1 in a million. As for true gods, in the long ages since the day of Wuqi God's creation, in the whole world of Jin, not a single true god had been sealed. This video will end here.